They should have a chair
outside.
outside and a cushion just inside the doorway. Whichever they like, either a chair or a cushion. Dear friends, we've been giving the invitation for people who live in Sonoma County or who want to come to Sonoma County to drop in any Sunday for the programs. And anticipating finding the way to open up our meditation hall so that if the situation outside happens to be noisy or filled with air pollution or too hot or too cold or in some way or other not right, that our day visitors will have an opportunity to come in and join the meeting live. Before COVID, there was a regular group of about, there was about 8 people who were quite consistent over time. And they very much enjoyed coming here, having the morning meditation, then offering some food and having some social time with their friends, sharing a meal together, and then staying on for the meal afterwards. But it's been not quite populated with many people coming here in person. So just this morning we have a visitor. Hello. Would you like to introduce yourself? Jean. Okay. And where is your home? In Kotati. Okay, perfect. Well, it's very easy for you to come and see us. So can you hear me all right from there where you are? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, good. So let's start by sitting for meditation. And then afterwards, we'll have time for questions and conversation. Giving homage to the Buddha, the perfectly enlightened one. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammang sanghang namasami. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Arriving for meditation, it's good to begin with the material body. Arranging the body in an upright and balanced posture, sitting on the cushion with the legs crossed, or sitting on a kneeling bench in the kneeling posture, or sitting in a chair with the feet well planted on the ground. Letting the back be upright and balanced. thinking to hold the body almost completely still without shifting around. So finding the posture that's as comfortable as possible. Aware of how the head is balanced at the top of the spinal cord, and not flopping this way or that way. Aware of how the torso is balanced, so it's not leaning forward, not leaning sideways, not leaning backwards, but just balanced, like a tree planted in the ground. Letting the hands be placed intentionally, could be in the lap, this posture, this position for the hands, like this, resting on the lap, can be comfortable but alert. Allowing the hips and the knees and the legs to relax, letting the tension to go, and just the weight of the knees or the legs is letting those joints to open up a little bit. That's a very gentle stretch. Letting the shoulders to drop. There's just enough energy holding the torso upright and holding the head upright. And apart from that, all the soft parts of the body can relax. The arms are just hanging from the shoulders. The hands are just resting on the lap. The seat is like sinking into the chair or the cushion. The feet is well planted on the earth, or the legs, the lower legs, well planted, sinking into the cushion. Taking a scan of the body for relaxation. Any part of the body which is tense or nervous or jumpy, just think of relaxing around that. If something is painful, it can cause the mind to become tensed up around the physical pain. But just think of holding those sensations in a very open and relaxed way, not disturbed by a painful feeling, and also not disturbed by a pleasant feeling. Just keeping awareness open and relaxed in noticing the body. Even some parts of the body are reflecting and responding to the state of mind. So one may notice the heartbeat, if it's racing or if it's steady. One may notice inside the stomach, if it's churning or burning, or if it's calm. One may notice the blood flowing from the heart and touching every part of the body. The blood can bring endorphins of pleasure, or hormones of agitation. And the faculties of the senses have their counterpart in the physical body. When seeing The eyes can be focused or with eyes closed. This eye faculty can be relaxed. With hearing, the sound vibrations touching the inner ear. The sounds can seem sharp and clear, or they can seem more muffled, as if at a distance, depending on our mind. Not reaching or grasping after any of the faculties of the senses, just aware of how it arises. The scent in the room touches the nose, bringing a pleasant or unpleasant scent. Can be strong or can be subtle. The sense of tasting in the tongue and the mouth. Would be the toothpaste from this morning, or food from this morning, or just the taste of saliva. Can be powerful, very pleasant, or not so pleasant, or can be so subtle it goes to the background and we don't even notice. and the touching sensation on the surface of the body. The seat touching this cushion or the chair. The feet or legs touching. The hands touching. The clothing touching the body. The warm air or the cool air touching the skin. Letting the mind be so relaxed, so clear, so calm, sensitive to whatever is coming up through the body. But if the mind is racing with thoughts, are tight, are activated, notice that. It's the touch of a thought on the faculty of the mind. Awareness itself connects with everything, aware of the body and all kinds of sensations, and aware of thoughts. Letting awareness be so clear and so calm and kind of detached, not holding anything, but allowing each moment of experience to come, have its moment in the sun, and then be let go. Awareness is relaxing around all those touches from all those sensations. Where is the mind? Connecting with the body and the sensations, with the thought of kindness, relaxation, and letting go. And when you're ready, opening the eyes and emerging from this brief meditation. Now is the time for conversation. I would first like to welcome if anybody has a question about the meditation practice and the theme that I was suggesting this time, or if you would be pleased to report how the meditation is for you this time. Okay, Chintana.
So I was having much pain in my knee. I have a knee replacement, and I'm trying to get to a point where I can sit, and all I have to do is relax my knee, and it actually comes around and I can sit, but had pain, and so I focused on other parts of my body that did not have pain, and I was able to endure that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did today.
There's a certain way in which this meditation, which is particularly focused on the body and the five senses, will make the sensations seem to be more vivid and more clear. And then it's a chance to see how the mind is picking that up and how to make choices with our mind about calming around the sensations. After doing this meditation for maybe a longer amount of time, there can come to be the moment where being alert and picking up every moment of contact is like too much activity, and the mind doesn't wish to be that active. And then the mind can, or the awareness can withdraw from connecting to the senses. Different teachers who teach about jhana or sama samadhi have different ways of explaining it. I know that Ajahn Brahm has the idea that when one enters into the first jhana, that the five senses are completely closed down, and so one is not aware of tasting, smell, of any of the five senses contacting. It's for this reason that people who have chronic pain, if they're able to learn samadhi, then it can be that it can be like a peaceful abiding. Even before entering into the first jhana, there's a way in which the mental disturbance can seem to be what they call access concentration. It's compared to being sitting on a porch. So the storm or the weather outside, you still know that there's weather going on, but you have some protection because you're on the porch. And this can be this stage of access concentration can be a wonderful, very productive, fruitful, beneficial level of meditation, because if we've got that little bit of protection, then we're able to like stay with it and sort of like explore and investigate and or watch and see um, how these things are arising and what their real nature is. And like I haven't had knee replacement surgery, but I have a couple of kinds of chronic pain that have been going on for me since 2001. And so it's just there's some different ways of relating to that. And sometimes it seems like, it's not my pain. It's just something out there in the universe. And when I feel that kind of separation, then the mind is able to be very stable, even though whatever's happening in the nervous system is still happening the same way, but the mind is much more settled. So, and the other choice that you're making about directing awareness to a different part of the body, yes, that's a very good way of helping to calm and to get out of having the mind be so made into be so restless that you're not really able to settle into the meditation because the impingement is too much and it's making the mind too restless. Yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, a group of people came and we gave them a bit of meditation. We were outside in the sala there, which is, you have a beautiful image of our sala behind you. So the neighbors were installing a newly paved driveway. And so there was this huge very loud mechanical noise going on the entire time that we were trying to guide them in a little guided meditation. So we wish that we could have so much mental power that, yes, we can sit down in a crowded subway station or a crowded place with machine noises and the mind can be calm and clear and it's just a vibration. But then for somebody who is a beginner, they might actually need to go into a quiet place, into a place that's a beautiful enclosed meditation hall or a retreat center or someplace in the forest that's very doesn't have any of those unpleasant contacts arising, in order for them to develop their strength. And even in that calm and quiet place, they'll find plenty of disturbances just because of the mind. So yes, thank you very much for that report. I appreciate it. I'll call on Elaine.
Hey, morning. Sometimes when I'm concentrating on the pain in my body, it actually goes away. And then in one of the meditations, I thought about my breath and that's not a painful place in my body. And then I started thinking about going to my breath. And then another thing that I think about is not me, mine, and myself, and the elements. And somehow that all ties in together. But thank you for the beautiful meditation.
You're welcome, and I appreciate those you mentioning of those other options. So how we respond to pain one might naturally respond with aversion. And the more that we have like identification about worrying about the health of the body or what's going to happen to me or woe is me or different emotions like that, then the more the painful sensation can cause a disturbance of the meditation. And the ways that you mentioned of thinking about not me, not mine, not myself, or thinking in terms of elements, it's like if you're focusing with a camera, if you change how the picture is framed, it comes across very differently. So giving it a wider frame puts a lot of space around it. And then one is able to then keep, be able to experience without the arising of that aversion. And when you mentioned that the pain disappears, yes, that's happened for me also. And sometimes it's the pain itself disappears because the mind is elsewhere. Just because, like, it's time for lunch, so the pain in the knee disappears because you're thinking about lunch. Or it could be that the aversion disappears. And so it's like the pain seems to have miraculously gone away, and one can get a tremendous lift of joy saying, wow, it's gone, the pain is gone. And this can happen with other hindrances as well. Especially with drowsiness, if somebody is like really sleepy, but if they don't give up on meditation, but they stick with it, then sometimes it can happen that the sleepiness disappears and all of a sudden the mind is very bright and awake. And that's, wow, what a discovery it is, that it's like we don't have to be dominated by pain. We don't have to be dominated by any of the hindrances. So thank you very much for those good observations. I'm going to call on Damon.
Hi, everybody. Now, I had the experience of having some physical sensations that were unpleasant. But what was more of a hindrance was the emotions around it, like anger, like, oh, I'm so angry, I have this chronic pain, whatever. And what I like what you said before about putting the pain out in the universe, can one do that also with the disturbing mental and emotional sensations that are arising primarily through thinking? Oh gosh, I'm so angry about this pain. Can that also be seen as something out in the universe and maybe get some help that way?
What do you think, Damon? Are you the only person in the world who has emotions like that? Or do you think that all humans can tend to have emotions?
Yes. Yes.
And so if we just have that reflection that actually it's part of human nature, something that was inherited from our genetics when we were a human being, or inherited from the social conditioning when we got born into a certain society, that then indeed we can see that the emotion is not just personal to me, that it's something which is out there. We're just like in the river of humanity,
Yeah.
sometimes getting swept up that way with emotions. And if you think of it that way,
Yeah.
possibly compassion could arise, both
Yes.
for everyone and for you, being floating, swept along down this river.
Mm. Yes, I'm feeling that compassion right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
So that's one way of reframing it. And then there is a different alternative, and I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. It's just different approaches may rise at different times, and that is an emotion is a complex of thoughts and feelings. Just simply treating those as being like a mental sensation, and just a bare awareness, just acknowledging. Even one can just say to oneself, just say, oh, this is unpleasant. So like the first statement is like, I'm really teed off about this. Okay, that's one way of thinking. But then if that is replaced with just the observation, oh, this is unpleasant, then already that gives some distance and some way to relax around it. Yeah. So I give you 2 tips that can be used, and I really appreciate your giving that report, Damon. It's nice to see you.
You as well. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. I'll call on Amber.
Hello, I really appreciate the way you said about the pain again, about kind of like it's not my pain, it's the pain that's happening. And so I'm looking at it like, okay, so it's not my pain. It's like it's kind of I'm experiencing life, and life happens to be pain right now. It happens to have pain. So it's just the experience of life. So it's very absolutely impersonal. Kind of like right now, I'm out able to look out at these trees. It's very pleasant. So the visualization of life right now is pleasant visuals. The touching of vision to my eyes right now. It can be, I can perceive it as pleasant. So that's just, and then a second later, that can change to I can have an emotion and it's unpleasant. So then my experience of life all of a sudden 2 seconds later could be unpleasant. So instead of that just being, oh, it's my feeling, I'm feeling unhappy, or it's my pain, maybe just life I'm experiencing right now is painful, or these trees are really pretty and nice looking that I'm staring at right now. Also, I really appreciated, I think what you were saying earlier about all I'll try to keep it short because I know we're at the end, but all the touch sensations going through the senses. And then you were talking about sometimes we'll check out in a manner because it's almost like overstimulation. I think that might have happened today in the meditation. I was doing all the touch sensations, and there's a lot of sensations going on all at the same time. And then at one moment, I remember realizing like, oh, I've just drifted away. My awareness I'm kind of calm, maybe a touch sleepy, and I've checked out of checking in with those senses. So that might have been it. There's a lot of hearing and seeing, and I open my eyes sometimes. There's a lot of senses, and maybe it's an overload, as you mentioned. Thank you.
These questions are so wonderful and bringing up different aspects of the practice that I wouldn't have thought to speak about unless you asked these questions. You pointed to impermanence. Sometimes it's unpleasant, sometimes it's pleasant. It comes and goes. It's constantly changing. And so seeing impermanence is another way of putting a frame around the experience, which is beneficial. If you're not seeing impermanence, it can happen that the mind can, the mental reaction can be grasping the experience. And even though the experience is constantly changing, the mind keeps grasping it again and again and again. And in that way, you sort of take something that it actually is impermanent, but it feels like it's permanent, that you're in a prison, a captive of your own mental process or your own experience, because but it's because the mind is picking something up in a certain way again and again with that sort of grasping. But when you know it's impermanent, you can't hold it anyway. So you might as well just open the hand and let it go by. And then one can experience the variety of different aspects that the unpleasant moment is perhaps surrounded by a lot of other moments that are neutral and some other moments that are pleasant. But then the second thing you spoke about, Amber, in terms of withdrawing. So it's possible to withdraw from the sensations and in an unskillful way to drift into either daydreaming or worrying about our problems. I don't recommend that. But it's also possible to withdraw from all of the sensations and let the mind rest on something much more simple, particularly the breath. So just the rise and fall of the breath. And then if you allow the breath to be, they say, putting the breath in front. So it's like there's all these things in the world, all these sensations, but I've brought the breath to the front of my awareness, and I'm not really seeing anything else except the breath, because the breath is filling up my entire field of awareness, because I've let that come up to the center. And so concentrating on the breath or concentrating on something else simple, like the thought of loving kindness, can be a very skillful, good, and beneficial way to practice meditation, and also to avoid being overwhelmed by painful sensations or by just the distraction of too many sensations. So
Thank you.
for that
That's
question.
such a good transition. I also still really appreciate how you made the pain impersonal and how I feel like that could be so valuable.
Right. Okay. We've used up our time. Thank you very much. If anybody wants to join for the sutta study, that's going to be happening at 1:00. And if you come back, I'll see you then. In the meantime, we can close this morning by giving our respect for the Triple Gem. The Lord, the perfectly enlightened and blessed one, I render homage to the Buddha, the Blessed One. The teachings so completely explained by him, I bow to the Dhamma. The Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, I bow to the Sangha.
Thank you, Ayya.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Thank you,
Sadhu,
lovely.
sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
I do.
Thank you.